y'all, what's up? My tripod broke, so I've got you sitting on a box. Oh, welcome back to Roots and Refuge. I didn't want to make this video, but alas, I knew when I started making content that I was going to have to do it honestly, or else I would never stick with it. I've never been one much for a stage. More a journal girl myself. 51 days ago, I started a daily content challenge with the plans of posting 100 straight days of content between my two channels, and celebrated, you know, completing as much as I did. Was feeling awesome about coming up on the halfway point and feeling super confident that it looked like I was gonna full steam ahead and do it. And I kind of got knocked back on that a good bit this week, and this video is announcing that I am no longer aiming to post 49 more days of daily content. I don't feel like I owe anybody explanations for the things that I do, but I also think that there's real value in transparency, and that choosing to share your life honestly with other people, I mean, it helps people. I think it helps us all to be human when we share our real human experiences rather than a glossed over picture that may not be fully true. I have a health issue. I've talked at length over the years, you know, about the ups and downs of that. Pretty publicly went through a bottoming out of my health a few years ago, and a couple weeks ago I started to have a flare of my interstitial cystitis. It's really painful. It's not, I mean, it's something I deal with all the years that I have been making content. I have been having interstitial cystitis flares periodically. But I did what I always do. Like, I buckled down my diet and stopped eating fried green tomatoes, and like hone in on being like, okay, let me really care for myself, do the things I know I'm supposed to do to support that, be as restful as possible. And of course, we had our big traveling thing to the conference, and it's been painful, but it's also been totally manageable. It's normal. I've had interstitial cystitis my whole adult life, so it's not something I'm not used to dealing with. But with all the rain that we've been having, my goats, the parasites have gone beyond like my capacity to really know what to do with them, and we have been really battling to keep our goats well. And I ended up having the vet out here yesterday to just take a look at everything and like walk me through, and they were like mixing up some cocktails of different dewormers with their expertise with the local parasite resistance and all that stuff. And anyway, all of that to say, that's been a stressful thing. But the vet looked at me, and she was taking some like fecal samples from some of my baby goats, and she asked me their names, and I couldn't remember them. And as soon as that happened, it was like, oh no, like I know what that is. And so essentially, like, this is, I've had a lifelong history with my urinary tract, but and I have shared that in depth about being like a sick kid growing up and all of that. But as I've gotten older, when I have issues with like UTIs and stuff, it comes with symptoms of like real heavy brain fog. And back when my health really bottomed out and it was really bad, and I was having extremely persistent issues, infections and inflammation and everything, I was having like real symptoms of dementia, and that's really scary, you know, when you're in your 30s to like have something that, I'm sure it's scary at any point in life, but especially when you know it's absolutely like attributed to illness. And literally as soon as that happened, it was the light bulb, because I can't always tell what's going on based on pain, because a lot of times I have pain even without that. So anyway, then yesterday I also got the news that I'm gonna have to have some very extensive dental work next week. That's gonna put me down for a few days, or 2 weeks from now, after I get this dealt with. I'm gonna have to get this dealt with, and yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it all. And I was talking to Maya, because I can't do it is probably one of the hardest phrases for me to say in my life. I've always struggled with that. because I really want to be able to do so many things. Over the years of being a person who deals with, you know, chronic pain and chronic illness, the way that I have likened it before is that, like, a lot of people have a baseline of health that comes naturally to them, and my baseline of health is, it requires me to work for it. It does not come without intention for me. I honestly consider that an incredible blessing, because, you know, I go for like my checkups and everything, and I'm actually in fantastic health other than this particular issue. Like, it's getting to the point, you know, I'm about to turn 40 this year, and my doctor will just exclaim how great my health is, except for this one area that keeps me having to work for it. And all in all, I think that's probably a blessing, you know, like, it stinks to have chronic pain, but I think that it's kept me holding myself to a standard that I care for my body in a way that will be very beneficial in the long run. But seeing as how I have dealt with this for so long, I've talked a lot about letting the low end drag on my channel, and one of the ways that I have always dealt with this, and dealt with being a person who does a lot of things and has big dreams and has a big family and really does actually have a pretty high capacity for getting things done, but everybody has a limit. A lot of times I imagine like I'm holding a hand of cards, and, you know, each one of my children is a card. Each thing I do in my business is a card. My animals, my garden. And I have this full hand of cards, and sometimes I just have to lay some of them down. I heard someone say once that the really important thing in prioritizing in your life is that you're juggling, and some balls are glass and some are plastic, and you just have to make sure that you don't drop the glass ones. And I'll be honest, sometimes I get a little bit frustrated to have the role in my life of being the person that has to like bite the bullet and take the low road of saying I can't do this publicly, of having to wear my limits out loud. And that part of like living in a glass house, which is what I really set out to do in making content, means like wearing weaknesses on my sleeve. But when I consider how absolutely polished and edited and now artificially generated our world is becoming, and already is and has been for quite a while now, I guess it's just its own sort of bravery to just be real in that. So I have thoroughly enjoyed making daily content for you all, and I actually still have long lists of ideas. I expect I will still make way more content than I did when I started this challenge. You know, I had gotten to where I was making maybe a couple videos a week, and at least through the season where I have so much to show, I have really developed the habit of picking my camera back up on the little things, and I have thoroughly appreciated that. But at this particular point, I have to honor myself. When my health did bottom out a few years ago, I really made the commitment to myself that I would never ignore the check engine lights again and keep driving, that I would stop and I would take care of myself, because I think it's really easy to want other people to prioritize you when you don't, but I think that's actually not healthy at all. And like, Jeremiah is fantastic. I mean, we were talking about this, and he was obviously super supportive and is extremely helpful and will be the one taking care of me through all of this. But I can't even expect him to set the boundaries and call the limits. I have to have the capacity to do that. And as a person who really grew up a people pleaser, that's been a very hard lesson for me. So yeah, the check engine light's on, and I have got to slow down. I've got to take care of myself. I will post what I can when I can, and share with you all, and thank you for supporting me the way that you do and being with me. I say this regularly, that I really do have the kindest audience on YouTube. And I'll say that, and then whenever I'll shout somebody out or have somebody on like my podcast or have somebody on my channel and my audience goes to them, I'll get feedback from other creators that go, wow, you really do have the kindest audience on YouTube. I'm like, I know, I told you. I have weeks that go by that I do not have to even deal with negative comments. That's unheard of. Now, granted, the majority of my viewers comes from my subscribers, so it's, you know, we have I have created something of a community here where there's familiarity and I think a genuine sense of friendship and respect. But I still don't like saying I can't do it. So, yeah. Videos be up when I can, maybe a little sparse over the next couple weeks. I don't know. I mean, I still have things going on, but it really just depends on how quickly I respond to the treatments that I'm doing right now, and then what I can get done before I have to go get my teeth worked on. Oh, thank you guys for hanging out with me today and all the days you do. God bless you. Until next time.